Minot, North Dakota, one of the last homes of the Kmart Little Caesars combo stores. If Disneyland is the happiest place on earth, then Minot is the saddest. If Florida is the male genitalia of the United States, then you would think that California would be the butthole, but no, it's Minot. Minot is the butthole of the United States. Founded in 1886, located in Ward County, and small enough to only deserve one area code, Minot, also known as the Magic City, is the city locals can't wait to leave and Air Force members pray they don't get orders to. Let's take a closer look at the history, real and fake, of Minot, North Dakota, right after the intro. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello again, history nerds, and welcome to Fake History, the channel that provides the fake history of things that you love, hate, and everything in between. This video was suggested to me by Maddie M., a friend and fellow brother in uniform. See, in case you didn't know, I'm prior Air Force, and I was lucky enough to have my first and only duty station be Minot Air Force Base. So unlike my previous video about Seattle, I have intimate knowledge and memories of Minot, and just like herpes, the memories just won't go away. But, for the sake of brevity, I'll only focus on the city of Minot and not my military career. That can be saved for another day if anyone is interested. North Dakota became a state in 1889 as an answer to the question, what state could be worse than Maryland? However, Minot came into existence 3 years prior, after a railroad track was laid through the area. Nicknamed the Magic City due to the city suddenly springing up overnight, as if by magic, the town quickly grew to a population of 5,000. Why these early settlers didn't try to keep moving west, no one knows, but maybe they froze in place just like the elk do in the winter. And since 1889, Minot hasn't really done much of anything to gain notice, reinforced by the fact that the History of Minot section of Wikipedia is the shortest blurb for a city that I've ever seen. Seriously, go check it out and I'll wait. It's like 7 paragraphs and 2 of them are only like 3 sentences. Back? Yeah, see what I mean? Other than the Air Force Base, which the majority of the citizens there hate, Minot's biggest positive claim to fame is their railroad, and man are they proud of it. I guess I would be too, because taking the train is the quickest way to get to a normal civilization, as the nearest big city is over 100 miles away in the summer, and 0 miles away in the winter due to the driving conditions. I emphasize the word positive, as their other biggest claims to fame was a train derailment that sent a cloud of anhydrous ammonia all over the city, killing one and poisoning many others, and a flood in 2011 that damaged 1/5 of the entire city. I was there for the flood, and I'll get into that later. Since there's not much else I can find on the history of Minot, I'm going to do something a little different for this video and actually talk about my time there. As I mentioned, I was in the Air Force, and when I got my orders, I was very disappointed at first, but I decided I would do my best to make the most out of it, as it was just the first step to my 20-year military career. One enlistment later, and I was back as a civilian, because the city just sucked the soul out of me that hard. Now, don't get me wrong, I did have good times, and the city itself isn't exactly that bad. It more or less looks like a normal city, but there's just something about it that seems off. For example, you have to deliberately be looking for Minot. You'll never just randomly drive into it on a road trip by accident. It's so far north that the only people who purposefully drive to Minot are the Canadians across the border, but even then they're only doing it so they can get to Bismarck. Since it's located in such a desolate place, it feels like you're on an island full of people who have never seen an outsider before. Like any city, they have their own customs and traditions. For example, instead of cursing, residents like to use oofta as their form of an expletive. So, where normal people would stub their toe and loudly exclaim something like, "Fuck, that hurt," Minotians will say, "Oofta, that hurt, don't you know?" All soda is called pop, and Dr. Pepper, which is the soda that God himself drinks, is seen as lowbrow. But what do you expect from a city full of people that think Bud Light is the pinnacle of beer? Another custom that local Minotians have is to hate on all the unfortunate souls that were assigned Minot Air Force Base as their duty station. For example, my first weekend there, a waitress at the local Applebee's asked if I was military. When I responded that I was, she stated that she could tell based on my cheap watch and even cheaper haircut, entirely unprovoked. Needless to say, I didn't tip her. What traditions does Minot have, you may ask? Every year the city holds the Minot State Fair, an event where no less than 60% of the population is in attendance at any moment. Now, a lot of cities and towns have a state fair. You may be saying out loud to yourself, alone in your tiny one-bedroom apartment, but don't worry, I heard you. You're right, they do. But the Minot State Fair is listed as a tradition in this video because it's basically the only thing that they can claim as a tradition. Well, it's also a tradition that the entire city will be covered in snow from October to May every year, but that's just because even nature hates Minot. Let's talk about the snow, shall we? North Dakota is historically known as the snow state. I like snow, but the sheer amount that Minot gets is just appalling. The first year I was in Minot, I lived in the dorms on the base on the first floor. One morning, I woke up to find the snow had piled up so high, I could only see out of the top inch of the window. Another year, a friend and I had rented a house together, and the snow was so high, I had to walk out of the window of my room, which was on the second floor, just to get to my car because the front and back doors were blocked in from the snow. In another year, we jumped off of a friend's roof just because we could. Don't believe me? Just watch this.
1, 2, 3. It's so awesome! I got a toothpick!
Let's not forget the flood caused by the snow also. In 2011, Canada and North Dakota received so much snow that the Mouse River couldn't handle it and 1/5 of the town flooded. The Air Force helped flooding efforts by trying to divert the water as best as they could, but the Army got all of the credit for some reason. That's right, the Army, who did not have a base in Minot, received credit for the work of the Air Force, who does have a base in Minot. Talk about getting shafted. I think the thing that impressed me most about Minot was that there were more bars than restaurants. And if you include restaurants that served alcohol, there was more places that served alcohol than any other type of business in the city. For a city of 35,000 people, at the time of my incarceration at least, there was roughly 20 bars. And if you look at this picture, you'll see that there's a large handful just sitting right here on this block. Anyone want to take bets where the most drunk driving occurs? Also, can we appreciate for a moment that there's a bar called Cunts? I guess it goes without saying if you're this separated from the rest of the country, you really just don't give a shit anymore. Hey, have you ever seen a one-legged exotic dancer have to change out her own CDs on a single CD boombox set up on stage to dance along to? I have. Minot. By now, I'm not even giving out any type of history, real or fake, and I'm just kind of working my stand-up routine at this point. To be honest, Minot isn't really that bad of a place. When you're young and you want to see the world, your spirits drop when you find out you're getting sent to a base in a small town with nothing to do but drink and commiserate with your friends, saying that you never should have joined the military over and over again. But when you're older, you realize that you really should have made the best out of it because you only get this one shot at life. I did enjoy my time there. The people were friendly if you were friendly to them. The restaurants were pretty good. And I'll fight anyone who talks shit about potato LAs. I made really good friends there. Friends that I would call family. Friends who traveled halfway across the country to come to my wedding, and I to theirs. And even though it's so damn flat that you could watch your dog run away for a week, there's a special kind of beauty of an untouched land during the summer. The 3 weeks that summer lasts, of course. In conclusion, to my fellow Air Force members who get unlucky enough to get orders there instead of someplace like Germany, don't do what I did. Don't spend the entirety of your paycheck on beer just to drink away the depression. Get out there and enjoy yourself. To everyone else, don't go out of your way to visit, but if you accidentally end up there because you confused North Dakota with South Dakota, just make the best of it. But get out as soon as you can. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions of anything that you want me to cover the history of next time, just let me know in the comments. Until then, see you next time.